I said something about, well, a year from now, ask me a question. Remember to ask me a question a year from now. Do you remember my saying that? Well, as it turns out, you're not going to have to wait. Tonight, I'm going to tell you what it was that I was planning to wait a year to tell you. And I think you'll understand why, perhaps, in a moment. Well, I have always told you folks the truth. Tonight will be no exception. This is going to be a pretty wild story. So buckle in, and we're going on a ride here. You may recall that before I left on my change of scenery venue, I mentioned to you that I was going east. I think that was the only hint I gave. I said I was going east. What I didn't say was how far east I was going. Actually, I went to the far east, as in the Philippines. That's where I've been, ladies and gentlemen, for the last 3 weeks. I've been in the Philippines. Now, let's go back a little bit, all right? Back to the beginning of January 5th, when my dear wife Ramona passed away. I got, I think, thanks to all of you so much, I believe I got in the order of, almost 20,000 condolence messages. I'd say about 20,000 by the time it was over, and it's really still not over. About 20,000. However, I began within a few days, I began to get a condolence message from a young Filipino gal at my private email address, not either one of my public ones, and I won't give you the address, but a private email address. And to tell you the truth, I was in such shock, I really was in a state of nothing short of shock, that I responded to it, as I did many others, but I didn't give it any consideration beyond that at first. God, this is such a wild story. Anyway, a few more messages went back and forth. She seemed like a very nice young lady, and again, in the first, 6 or 8 messages that went back and forth in email between us, I was in such shock that I didn't think to ask, a couple of rather what should have been very obvious questions. Why is a young Filipino lady writing to me? How would she know that my wife had passed away? Moreover, how would she know my private email address? So I was in pretty bad shape, and the first thing I thought, honest to God, folks, I thought Ramona was acting from above, and that she was sending me a young 20-something to kill me. Ramona was half Filipino. You know that, right? Anyway, I really did think that for a little while because it was so impossible. Then I thought, no, Julie, Ramona's mom, knew how bad my shape was at that time, and of course, Filipinos know each other. Oh, believe me, they all sort of know each other. They're very close families, but that's another whole story. And so I thought, well, sure, it's coming somehow from somebody that Julie knows, Ramona's mom in the Philippines, would make sense. And then I finally threw up my hands, and I guess I gathered enough of my senses to write back to this young lady, whose name, by the way, is, in my way of thinking, Aaron. It's A-I-R-Y-N, Aaron. But actually, correctly pronounced, as it would be read by a Filipino, would be Irene. But A-I-R-Y-N to me sounds like Aaron, so I call her Aaron. But really her name's Irene. Now, the the emails got a little more personal and a little more interesting and fun, and the emails then turned into video conferences. Erin and I began having 2 or 3 hour video conferences virtually every day. And this is pretty personal stuff. In fact, I'll tell you, after you have talked to somebody for 2 or 3 hours and seen their picture in a video conference, which can be done across the world, for 2 or 3 hours every day, you get to know more about them than I think the average couple, which usually jumps in bed with each other and then tries to find out about the other person afterwards, will ever know. Still, you know, I still had not physically met Erin, but I was quickly falling in love. There's simply no question about it. Now, who's Erin? Well, Erin is a 20-something, beautiful, wonderful light of my life. She's but what I really want to tell you is she's a teacher. She just graduated from college. In fact, while I was in the Philippines, I attended her graduation. One of the photographs you'll see there is of her graduation. In fact, you'll see her mom and her dad. And her dad is a very stern guy. He's a farmer. She is from the provinces. I guess I don't know. I'm trying to get this all together. There's so much to tell you about. When I say the provinces, I mean not Manila. She's from, actually I spent most of my time in Mindanao, in Cagayan, a city called Cagayan. And I'm sure I'm slaughtering the pronunciation of Cagayan, but I'm doing my best. Sometime on Luzon in Manila. But most of it on Mindanao, the northern part of Mindanao. Cagayan is the city, if you want to look it up on a map. And she's actually from a little town called Bukidnon. It's called Bukidnon, and that's where she's from. And to get to Bukidnon, you have to first fly to Mindanao, go to Cagayan, and then take a vehicle on about a 3 to 4 hour drive. And then the last, 30 minutes is a very kind of serious dirt road. And so I made that trek. Anyway, back to the story of how we met. I wrote to her and I said, listen, how did you know my wife passed away? And how did you know to write me at this address? And the answer came quickly. It was an amateur radio friend of mine, a ham radio friend of mine, somebody I've known now for years. And I am going to not mention his name because here's what happened. You see, he had been engaged to Erin's sister, Sharon, for quite some time. And when he heard that my wife passed, he kind of knew the bad shape I was in. He apparently asked Sharon to ask her sister Erin to just write to me because, well, keep me company, whatever. And so that's how it began, of all things. So the moment I found out, I picked up the phone and I called this friend of mine in the middle part of the country, and I said, what the heck, or some variation thereof. And so that's how it happened. Now, after hundreds and hundreds of hours in video conferences, I was pretty well convinced that I had just become the luckiest man in the world. And nevertheless, there's the last sort of I've got to go meet her in person kind of deal. And so that's where the trip to the Philippines came in. As a matter of fact, I paid my friend's way over to the Philippines, and there was a double wedding. Now, I couldn't be happier. I love her very much. Oh, by the way, if you would like to go to coasttocoastam.com and look very carefully, you'll see, I think I put up 6 or 8 pictures, mostly of Erin, some of the both of us, and all of these pictures came from the recent trip. In fact, you will see a picture of her as I mentioned, at graduation with her mom and her dad there, and then you'll see some of the wedding, and you will see her in her wedding dress, and oh my God, is she beautiful. Most beautiful woman I've ever seen in my life. And we are so in love. So, I know many people will think many things, but remember, folks, it's my life. And I told you that I was going to do something and turn my life upside down, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. Now, I'm not done. There is more to this story. I'm moving to the Philippines. I'm going to you see, most or many Filipino girls want to come to the United States. Erin doesn't. And luckily, I would like to live there. So I'm going to pick up sticks, folks, and for a year, and maybe forever, move to the Philippines. I know this is coming as a big shock to you, but that's what's happening. This guy is taking off to the Philippines, and I'll give you some of my private thoughts about this in a moment yet. But I would like you to know that I've got a really good company. This company, Clear Channel, that I work for. Craig Kitchen is the president of it. Now, he's known about this for some time. Otherwise, it's been a deep, dark secret because until it really happened, I didn't want to tell anybody. So Craig Kitchen has been incredible and just wonderful throughout this. And all I will tell you on this score is I have begun to acquire a residence for Erin and myself in an area that should allow, I'm convinced it will allow, an ISDN connection. And so my company, Clear Channel, this really is cool stuff, folks. They're going to attempt to put together what's called an ISDN connection between Manila, which is where I'll be, somewhere in Manila. That's a city of about 20 million or so. Between Manila and the United States. And so I will continue to do my program. There may be a week or two lag in getting in the ISDN line. But I'm leaving here on, going back to the Philippines, back to my love, on April 29th. So there could be, getting the residents prepared. So there could be a week or two gap. I'm not exactly sure yet. It won't be very long. They have to get some equipment over there. And I will do the show from Manila. Now, my webcam photos are going to be pretty interesting because I'll tell you this much. Erin and I are on the 19th floor of a building in Manila. Now, from the 19th floor, my goodness, you can mount a webcam and pretty much see the skyline of Makati and Metro Manila. So I should have some pretty interesting photographs for you. There's a whole lot going on in my life right now, as you can imagine. Again, if you want to see pictures of Erin and myself and what was going on, www.coasttocoastam.com. Now, let me see. There are so many things that I have to talk about. Through this all, I guess I ought to add, of course, was Ramona. And I talked to her all the time, and I kept telling her, Ramona, if there's anything, if this is wrong for me, if you wouldn't want me to do this, if I'm making a mistake, kick me in the ass. Well, she never did. And she would have. Anyway, she would have loved Erin. She certainly would have loved Erin. And instead of things going wrong, things went boom, 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 just right. Never anything going wrong. It could not have been better. Both in the magical way that we met, and then as we got to the Philippines, it was everything I dreamed it could be and more. And then, of course, the final decision, and I could spend a half hour talking to you about marrying a Filipina. Believe me, what a wedding is like there. They take about 3 hours. I would say 3 hours. And there were probably about 100 people there. And it was probably about 100 degrees. And you get under a veil, and there's a cord put around you, and the ceremony just goes on and on and on and on. There's no divorce in the Philippines. They don't have it. It's a predominantly Catholic country with a very small percentage of Muslims, and mostly Catholic. And so their government, unlike ours, where we have sort of a separation between church and state, their government is run by Catholics. I mean, there's simply no question about it. And so there is no divorce there, which is fine by me. So I'm very happy. I think the photographs will tell the story. You can see, obviously, Aaron is really happy. I'm really happy. And I've never been the kind of person to, I don't know, be afraid of any damn thing in the world. So I'm not. So I hope while I'm speaking you have a chance, an opportunity to go up and take a look at the photographs. I know this is quite shocking to many of you because for me this has been ongoing for months now. For all of you, you're just hearing about it, seeing it for the first time right now. But I guess what you ought to know, and what is most important, is I am so very much in love, so very happy. And when was the last time anybody did a talk show from the Philippines anyway? So my company is so cool. I mean, they are way cool to get behind me and the whole concept, the whole idea of doing a show from the Philippines. By the way, doing it there will mean, with the hour change, let's see, I'd be doing it at about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So what we're going to have to do is darken down the residence we have and make it look just like night. So I can be in the mood, so it's just like nighttime. It's going to be fun. It's really good. As a matter of fact, the whole thing is going to be fun. And I'm going to be back there very quickly. I told her I wouldn't leave her alone for a moment, and I will not. Now, listen, I've got a whole, I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet in terms of what I'm going to do with everything. For example, I've got 5 acres and 2 homes here of about equal size. I mean, just a luxury home. It doesn't get any better than what I've got, in my opinion. 5 acres of land in a very private area with an RV and, the biggest ham antenna of its kind. Now, if the right amateur radio operator came along, the right ham radio operator, and wanted all of this, I've got a racquetball court, solar power, and there's just more things here than I could possibly ever describe. If the right amateur radio operator, ham operator came along, I might sell the whole schmear to him. I just might. Or I might keep the houses. I'm not sure yet, but one thing's for sure. I am going to have a lot of stuff for sale, and I will take the opportunity to use my own program to actually mention some of this stuff, and if anybody's interested, I'll give a phone number. So get not a phone number, but actually a fax number. Hell, I think I've got it. Yes, I do. Thank goodness. And I'll provide a fax number, but I'll just mention some of these things. And so if anybody out there is particularly interested, you can fax the number I'm going to give. But anyway, the bottom line to this first half hour is I have met, in the most unusual, magical way you can imagine, the most beautiful girl in the world, who, yes, is 20-something. And we fell very much in love, and we got married. So there's a big shocker for you, and then to pile on top of that, I'm going to become an expat, and I'm going to do this radio program on the weekends from Manila in the Philippines, where it's a different day every day. Go to the one I love, and the one I love is Irene Ruiz Bell. If you want to see her, she's on the internet right now at coastcoastam.com. Lots of good photographs up there, all taken on my recent journey to the Philippines. And that's where I'll be doing the program from the Philippines, unbelievably. Now, I will take some calls this hour. I've got just one thing I want to cover with you in a moment. Then we'll take some calls, and who knows? Only the shadow knows. We'll be right back. Well, all right. So, again, here I go. April 29th, away to the Philippines and my love. Now, I'm going to sell a bunch of stuff. There's no point in keeping it. It occurred to me that, for example, vehicles and things like that, they're just going to devalue, sit here, which they pretty much did anyway. I mean, all my vehicles are just about new because I kept them in a garage and used a little Geo Metro. So what I've got is a 99 Camaro, perfect condition, 98 Firebird Trans Am that'll kick butt. I've got a 99 Geo Metro in perfect condition, an older Geo Metro. All those can go. I've got a SX77 amp, an Alpha amp, an Alpha 99, an Alpha 87A amp. They can probably go if I find the right buyers. I've got a couple of 42-inch plasma TVs. I've got a 2000 model RV Bounder with every option known to man. Sony recorders, high-def stuff. The house is just full of stuff. And so I've got a bunch of guns, too. Anybody wants to buy guns? Anyway, look, what I'm going to do is give out a phone number. They hate it when you take guns. You can actually take guns on an airline, but they don't like it, although it's something to think about. Anyway, anybody seriously interested in maybe buying the whole properties out here, the 5 acres and the whole schmear of the antennas, or, some part thereof, well, I'm going to give you a fax number. Now, this is not a way to contact me for anything else. Only if you're interested in some of this stuff. The fax number is area code 775-582-1310. That's area code 775-582-1310. Now, there's not really much point in just letting cars, slowly devalue themselves, I suppose. Somebody should be driving them. They're awesome vehicles. So I'm going to give my friend here, Paul, power of attorney, and he'll be able to handle it for me. And this is really his fax number, so good luck, Paul. Again, if you're interested in think you might be in any of these items, it's area code 775-582-1310. That is only a fax number, and it's only for these items. Okay? Hope we're clear on that. I've got so much stuff. But if need be, I'll just leave it all and go. I actually have somebody living in my guest house and taking care of the house and the cats right now. Oh, that's another thing. The ham radio operator, who I paid to, I wanted to help him out, so I paid his way to the Philippines and back. And he married Aaron's sister, Sharon. He took Shadow. He wanted Shadow, so Shadow is now on her way to the middle part of the country in a large vehicle, probably having a blast, probably meowing like crazy. So I now have 4 cats, and I'm looking for good homes for them. I may try and take 1 or even 2, maybe, to the Philippines, but I don't really know exactly what the situation is with respect to how long they'd have to be in quarantine, whether I want to put them through that. So that's the situation. Bottom line, in love, married, moving to the other side of the world, and that is where I will do the program. Now, look, folks, I'm 60 years old. I lost my wife. I would say try and put yourself in my shoes when you consider whether you think I made the right decision or not. Not that it really matters, but I'd like you to understand at this age. I have met and fallen in love with a beautiful young lady who's very much in love with me. We're married, and I guess I would have had two paths that I could have taken. I could have stayed here, of course, with my 5 kitty cats, and I love them to death. You know that. And lived out my life that way, or I could choose to flip my life upside down. I'm famous for it. I've done it lots of times before, and just change everything, and that's exactly what I have done. Let's go to the lines. Wildcard line, good morning. You are on the air.
All right, this is Stephen, your fireworks buddy in Columbus, Georgia, buddy. You have done it again, hadn't you?
Columbus, Georgia, huh? Yeah, I guess I've done it again. This is pretty wild.
Congratulations, Art.
Congratulations. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
I'm telling you just like it is, son. Whatever makes you happy makes me happy.
Have you had an opportunity to go up and look at the photographs?
You know, Art, I got divorced about 3 months ago, and my computer went with her. And I've been the happiest man ever since.
Well, there's no such thing as divorce in the Philippines, sir. It's illegal.
Well, I tell you what, I just hope this young gal don't kill you. Okay?
Well, listen, there is worse ways to go.
Well, I know what to send you for your birthday, all right? I know exactly what to send you, sir.
All right. Well, we'll fix it up so that you can send things
I'll send you a year's supply of those little blue pills, okay?
Go away, sir.
All right, Art.
Thanks, buddy.
Here, buddy.
See you later.
I congratulate you very much.
Thank you. Take care.
All right, buddy.
East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Good morning.
Hey, Art, how you doing?
I'm well. I've just sort of explained that, I think.
Oh, man, congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Unbelievable shock.
I know.
Just wanted to say that, and real quick, I'll take this off the air. I'm working kind of busy. Just wanted to say, what will be your new opening? Have you decided that?
You know, I thought a little bit about that, and I thought something cutesy like from the rainforest south on the other side of the. I don't know. I'll come up with something. Maybe some people out there will have some ideas, but it's been from the high desert, and how about from the rainforest, which technically won't be true, but it is close by. So I don't know. That could be the new opening. I don't know. West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Hi, Art. This is Mark from San Diego.
Hey, buddy.
Well, you answered my questions about the cats because that was my concern. But I just want to say you've been in such an emotional grave of your own for the last 4 months. I think on the eve of Easter, this is your own resurrection. So I'm really happy for you. You can hear it in your voice.
Sir, you have no idea how happy I am.
Well, it comes across.
Have you seen the photographs yet?
Well, I lost sight several years ago, and so I don't have that ability. But which is why your program is. I listen to it now because everything's radio for me now.
Well, it's always been radio for me. The Internet, though, is a pretty good adjunct to radio. And so if you get a chance, yeah, if you can get, she's a really beautiful woman. So if you get a chance to get to coasttocoastam.com, go take a look.
Sir, and congratulations, and many happy.
Thank you. Thank you very much, and take care. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Good morning.
Hello.
Turn your radio off, please.
All righty.
Yeah, have to turn it off. We have a delay. It'll confuse you more than me, actually. Okay. All right. Where are you?
I am in Iowa.
Iowa?
Yep.
Okay, welcome.
Thank you. Just wanted to say congratulations.
Thank you. Have you yet seen the photographs?
No, I'm at work right now. So I'm doing a naughty thing calling in, but I hear how happy you are, and I'm just really happy for you, Art.
Oh, thank you. So you're using the boss's phone to call in?
Yeah, well, I work overnight security, so no one's really out here, but yeah, if anyone would catch me, I'd be in a little bit of trouble. But
well, I don't want you in trouble.
That's all right. I'm used to being in trouble, Art.
Yeah, me too. I mean, this is fairly typical of me. I'm sort of not afraid of doing very radical things.
I know what you mean, my man.
You only live once, bud.
Exactly.
Life is short. That's a real phrase to remember. Thank you very much. Wildcard line, you're on the air. Hello.
Yeah, Art.
Hi.
I've seen the pictures on the Internet.
Oh, well, first one to come along who's seen the pictures.
Well, I think you're a little understated.
Well, I'll just go right ahead, sir. What do you think?
I think she's absolutely gorgeous. I think you've made a very good thing.
There's worse ways to go.
Oh, it's a very short list.
Yeah. No, she really is pretty incredible.
Yeah, it'll put a nice spring in your step.
my step springeth already, sir.
Oh, my grandfather was a ham pioneer. I just want to, pass that on to you that, ham and everything you're doing very well.
Well, let me tell you, I will take my radio equipment as much as I'm able with me. And, I'm going to be up on the 19th floor of a large building. And if I can figure a way to get some coax up on the roof, I'm going to be rocking and rolling, believe me.
Well, you'll have some less restrictions with the FCC over there.
I don't know. They've got their own agency. It's very much the same. Fortunately, there is a sort of a reciprocal agreement. If you have a license here, you can obtain one there to operate. So I'm looking forward to that. Well, listen, thank you very much, and I appreciate your comments on the photographs.
Okay, thank you.
Take care. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Hey.
Hey.
Can I be the mama cat for the kitties until he decides to come back to America? I'll kidnap them and keep them.
You'll keep them, huh? Hey, where are you calling from with an accent like that?
Arkansas.
Arkansas. Well, Arkansas might be a little difficult in terms of trying to care for the kitties. I certainly appreciate the offer, and I like your accent.
I've been to the Philippines. I know where you are, and I know what you're going through. And the southern part is it's a difficult area for Americans.
Yeah, southern Mindanao.
Go through it, baby. I'll keep your kitties.
All right. Well, thank you very much. The southern part does have, of course, Abu Sayyaf, whatever his name is, and some trouble. But the rest of let me tell you something. This is really important for you to know. The Philippines is probably one of the most friendly countries. It's got the best people you'll ever meet in your whole life. They're all friendly. They smile. They're beautiful people. In fact, there's got to be a beautiful girl factory over there somewhere, just stamping them out. I told Aaron that, and it's unbelievable, the number of beautiful people over there. And they're friendly. Everybody smiles. Everybody's nice. And by the way, others you'll see in the photograph are bridesmaids and flower girls, and there was probably about 100 people there, I'd say, in total. West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hi.
Hi, Art. This is Maureen from San Diego.
Howdy.
Hi. I just want to wish you congratulations.
Thank you.
You're welcome, because I'm Filipino, too, because I know I talked to you before.
Have you seen the photographs yet?
Oh, not yet. I don't have a computer.
All these people without a computer.
Well, I have a library across the street from me. Will it be up tomorrow?
Yes, it'll be up through the weekend.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Art. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Good morning.
Yes, Art. Hi. Congratulations.
Thank you.
At first, I had mixed feelings, but after hearing you, I can tell that you're sincere.
Oh, yes.
And that you are happy.
Oh, yes.
And I feel so much better. And I was just worried about your cats, but I know that that's going to be taken care of because I have a feeling that Ramona's pulling for them, too, as well as you.
Yeah, I believe that's right.
Congratulations, sweetheart.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Wildcard line, you're on the air. Good morning.
Hi, Art.
Hi.
I have to tell you, I was touched by what happened to you. Condolences for your wife, but I myself was married in Davao City, Mindanao.
Davao, really?
Yes, in the Apple View Hotel. I'm sure you saw it if you landed.
I actually, I didn't get to Davao. I almost got to Davao, but and I was also going to go to Cebu, but I got distracted.
I lived in Cebu for 6 months.
In Cebu?
Yes.
No kidding.
Yes, the Philippines stole my heart.
God, it's a beautiful country. It's such a beautiful country.
People are poor, but they're so happy and they're gentle.
Well, the majority, or many, I guess I ought to say, Filipino girls want to come to the United States. Aaron, she doesn't. So this is kind of a different situation. Also, I guess I ought to add, so you know, she really didn't know who I was until about 2 weeks before I left for the Philippines. I finally told her. She had no idea who I was. I could have been poor as a church mouse. She had no idea who I was. All our correspondence and all our video and all the rest of it, I really never told her until about 2 weeks before I went. And then I did. I told her I was a radio host, and I held my books up for her and told her I'd written 4 books and all the rest of that. So she had only found out about that about 2 weeks, I guess, before I went over.
Well, my wife is similar to your wife in the way that when I met her, she didn't have any desire to come to the United States. My wife was well educated and she was young, and when I told her that, hey, would you be interested in marrying me, she looked at me as though I was crazy because she said, me marry a foreigner? I mean, I'm young, I'm in school, and I had to win her over. And so a lot of the women there, I did question their motives. But my wife was, she's in the Philippines now, as a matter of fact, and we're going there. I'm going to join her on May 5th.
All right, buddy. Well, that's only a few days after I leave, so you never know. Maybe we'll connect.
Oh, by the way, I sent you an email with a picture of my wife, and I did see your pictures. She's beautiful.
Oh, isn't she something?
Yes, yes.
Thank you, my friend.
Sure thing.
And take care. West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Good morning.
Oh, hi.
Hi, turn your radio off, please.
Yeah.
That's all the way off.
One big concern, Art. What's going to happen to KNYE?
Oh, very good question. Thank you for asking. KNYE will continue. What I've done is I found a new manager, and I've got a person lined up to take care of the technical aspects of the radio station. So KNYE will continue without missing a beat.
Well, I mean, it's just a big shock here. I'm calling from Monrovia, California.
Right.
And it's really a big shock. I mean, what's Major Ed and Whitley and George and Ian, everybody's probably going to be just as shocked as I was when I heard it.
I'm sure that's true. Thank you very, very much for calling. And I understand it is a shock. And please understand that I could not really tell anybody anything until I was really sure. It would have been completely foolish to say anything until I was really certain that all this was right. And I'm really certain it is all right. And so, as is always been my custom, I'm here to lay the naked truth out for you, so to speak. Wildcard line, you're on the air. Hi.
Holy moly, that was quick. Art, I am jealous beyond jealous. I've been single for 5 years. I lost my taste for love 5 years ago, and I've always thought about foreign countries because I can't trust the women here and all that.
Well, it can be done. It can be done, sir, and I'm proving it right now.
How?
It's pretty wild, but it can be done. So, have you seen the photographs?
Yes, I did.
Isn't she a beauty?
What size shoe do you wear? I love you, Art. You're the best.
Very funny, sir.
Sorry.
All right. Well, by the way, where are you?
I'm in Northern California, in Anderson.
Anderson, California. Okay.
I'm a truck driver. But what do I do to try to, I don't know, not follow in your footsteps, but I've been thinking about it for years.
So, if I had not come along, she would have gone into the mountains. That's where it begins over there. She would have been way far away in the mountains in Mindanao, and she would have been teaching there. Now, I have just retired her, so to speak. All right, on to business now. Look, what you're about to hear is scary, scary stuff. Many people believe, and I'm one of them, that when people die, they don't just end. We are energy. We are electrical impulses. We have souls. We don't just die. Something else happens to us. We can debate until the cows come home what that is. But there's one really big thing. You know, pictures, I don't know. I've seen a few good ones. But this EVP, electronic voice phenomena, just totally tips me over from the work of George Meeks and those who came before him. Alexander Graham Bell, others who believed that communication with those on the other side was possible. And then, of course, the incredible Meeks work. You know, I listened to all of the Meeks work, and they were communicating with a man who was telling them how to improve communications. It was incredible. Then we've got this group that you're about to hear from. Brendan Cook and Barbara Macbeth represent the Ghost Investigators Society. GIS. They're nonprofit. They don't write books. They don't ask for money. All they do is take recorders, both analog and digital, into unusual places, and they record the voices of those who have passed. Specifically, Brendan Cook and Barbara Macbeth both are members of the Ghost Investigators Society. The Ghost Investigators Society is a non-profit organization dedicated to the investigation of ghosts. Not only do they conduct investigations, but they also instruct, assist, and educate anyone who believes that they may be experiencing ghostly phenomena or those who are just simply curious. In an effort to educate the public about ghosts, the GIS hopes the EVPs that you're about to hear will help demonstrate that the consciousness, our consciousness, does in fact survive after the body dies, and that these voices might help to give a different perspective about life, death, and ghosts. Now, I can't stress enough that the reason I keep having them back is because, as far as I can see, they have no agenda save what I just described. And by no means are they the first ones to come along and do this. They're just very, very good at it. So here they are. Brendan Cook and Barbara Macbeth. Welcome back to the program, you two.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Art.
You're very, very welcome.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Did you have a chance to zip up to the website and see
beautiful.
She sure did.
So you have seen her?
Yes.
Barbara, actually, I got here late to Barbara's house and walked in the door, and Barbara's like, "You'll never guess what, Art got married." I was like, "Are you serious?" And she's like, "Here, look." All right.
Wonderful. I'm so happy.
Thank you. Yes, I am too.
I hope so. I hope it's a wonderful, wonderful life together.
All right, now listen, Barbara, you're not as loud as Brendan is.
I'll get real close.
Okay, there you go. You've got to stay good and close to the phone for us all.
Okay.
Now, the open I did here, I really mean that. I've been looking into this whole thing now for so many years, and, nailing down whether or not there's life after death is, well, you almost don't nail it down. That's all there is to it. But this comes, in my opinion, as close as you can come to nailing it down and saying, look, this is real. It's not radio stations. It's not some weird something or another. These voices are coming from elsewhere. I mean, that's about all you can say for sure. It's not a hoax. It's not BS. These voices are coming from elsewhere. Is that fair to say?
Oh, yes, definitely, without a doubt. And, the only way you can do this and prove it to anybody is tell them to go out and do it themselves. I mean, it's one thing for us to show you this.
Oh, I'm so glad you mentioned that. Hold on a minute. All right, look, listen to this. Art, I've also been a ham operator since 1958. Reference the show tonight. This EVP stuff really works. I contacted my brother at our family house, asked whose spirit was present in the background on the tape recorder. Slightly scratchy in the noise, but very discernible was, in quotes, your brother. He had passed away some months earlier. Have the tape if you're interested. Kent, and gives me information and a phone number. That's representative of a lot of people that I've talked to.
Oh, yeah.
They think, this is BS, half of them, and they grab a tape recorder and they go out somewhere and they listen carefully. And I would say more than half of the people who try it themselves, well over half, get something.
That's right.
Oh, it is easily over half. I mean, the amount, I can't count the number of emails we get from people saying at first, I just don't buy this.
Yeah.
This is nuts.
Yeah.
And I'll email back and say, all we're saying is, if you don't believe it, go try it for yourself and see what happens.
Well said. Well, very well said. Listen, let me do my break before I forget it, which I'm famous for doing, so stay right there and we'll be right back. Well, all right. Once again, welcome back, you two.
Thank you.
Is there anything you want to add to the people? There will be some people, obviously, listening for the very first time this morning. There always are. There's so many millions of people out there that there's always going to be new listeners. So I guess we ought to give them the real quick 101. In other words, how did you get what all these folks are about to hear?
Well, what we do is record using, everything from analog tapes to digital to something we'll get into in a minute that I'm sure you're going to love.
Oh?
Yeah. You'll actually notice tonight a lot of these voices were recorded with a condenser mic. We have switched from, just regular dynamic microphones all the way up to condenser and, powered mixers and...
Really? What has caused you to switch?
Basically clarity.
Clarity.
We had always been suggested, or had people suggest to us, that we should use condenser mics.
Well, here's the deal. A condenser mic is famously more sensitive.
Oh, yes.
Very much more sensitive. So it would make sense, Brendan, if the what you're actually recording really is an audible sound as opposed to being impressed on some sort of electromagnetic media.
That's exactly it. And honestly, at this point, using the condenser mic as much as we have so far, I am under the impression it is some kind of audible sound.
Oh,
it
my.
has to be.
Oh, well, okay. That's a revelation all in itself, then.
Well, it is. And like I said, it comes from using the condenser mic. I think just hearing these voices and how much audio information is in these ones that we did record with the condenser mic, it's amazing.
You're going to be amazed at the clarity of the...
it sounds like nothing we've ever heard.
What finally caused you to switch over and give it a try?
It was basically just people, constantly suggesting we should try this. And, finally we went, well, hey, let's do it.
Okay.
We got nothing to lose but, a couple $100. That's it.
Yeah, that's right. So a couple $100 for a condenser mic and what?
Mixer and, yeah.
A mixer and all the rest of it. And what about the locations? You guys, even though you say all the time that you can get these voices virtually anywhere, you say that still, I notice you go to graveyards, prisons, old psychiatric facilities, that sort of thing.
You have to have the electrical power to be able to use that stuff.
It's really anywhere that is connected with, a lot of emotion. I think that's what we look at. And when you go to places like, obviously cemeteries have a lot of emotion connected to them, churches, mausoleums, hospitals, things like that. And I think what's happening is these spirits are feeding off that emotion.
Okay, but that it takes us back to the question of whether it's a residual something. Yes, strong emotions, but is it a residual something that's left, or have you had enough contemporary communication to be absolutely convinced now that these are actual spirits in real time saying things to you?
We get both. I would say easily right now 70%, over 70% of what we deal with is an intelligent, haunting is what we'd call it. It is aware of us. It seems to be aware somewhat of its surroundings. And then there's another just under 30% that seems to be like it's residual.
Huh. Isn't that fascinating? So some real-time stuff and some apparent residual from the life that was being lived at that particular location.
And the thing is, the residual thing is easy to rationalize. You could, chalk that up to, as you mentioned before, radio transmissions, baby monitors, things like that. You can rationalize that. It's these intelligent contemporary things that make you go, God, it's aware of us.
Yeah.
It's telling me something I had no idea about before.
All right. Also, we've dealt with this now in the years that we've been doing this program with you, and that is the disproportionately large number of children's voices that we hear.
Yes.
And there are going to be a lot of children in these tonight.
Yeah, you're not going to like this tonight.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, very concerning. It really is very concerning. Do you have any further thoughts on why we hear so many children?
I've got theories. I'll point it out when we get to the voice, but I almost wonder if they are able to go back in memory, almost like.
Oh, you mean adult spirits going back
in memory
into their own childhood,
reliving something bad that took place at that time. That's what I'm hoping.
I wonder.
That's what I'm hoping.
That's what you're hoping.
Yes.
Because, I mean, let's face it, your theory has merit because of those people in this world who die every day, and there are many, 40,000, 50, 60, whatever, who die every day, most of them, the great majority of them, are not children. I mean, obviously some children die, but more than not, people get to live out a fairly reasonably full life, right? So you just wouldn't expect the percentage of children that you get otherwise.
Well, and to back up Barbara's theory, there have been numerous documented reports of, Grandpa Joe passing away, and then a few weeks later, his grandson sees him as, when he was 15 or 20. So, yeah. I mean, that happens all the time. People report that all the time.
All right. You do work mainly with audio, but you also do some video, and I know on your website you've got some video shots. How frequently do these voices that we hear get accompanied by something that you pick up on video?
Not very. There doesn't seem to be a lot of correlation between video and the audio. There's definitely a correlation with the location that we're investigating. But most of the time, we really don't have our video cameras in the same area that we're recording. We kind of leave them separate and go off recording and come back and check the camera.
Okay.
Although we have recorded EVP on the video camera.
Oh, really?
Yes.
How frequently is the EVP that's recorded on the video camera similar or exactly the same as that which you record with a recorder?
Well, there was an instance where I was standing next to the camera when I had my tape recorder, and the EVP that I recorded on the camera was better and clearer than the one on my audio recorder.
That would indicate a proximity effect.
Yes.
Which again leads us to it's really audio.
Oh, yes.
How many times, then, have either one of you heard what later you hear on the recorder with your own ears?
Rarely.
But it's happened.
It has happened, but very rarely. There was actually a voice we were going to use tonight, and we just decided, this is too low. People aren't going to hear it on the radio. But what happened was Barbara and I were in the basement of a building, and all of a sudden we just heard this. It sounded like a moaning. I turned to Barbara. I'm like, what is that? Yeah. Barbara's like, could be a cow. And I'm like, are you sure about that, Barb? And then it just kept going and going and going. And I'm like, God, that's just a cliched horror movie sound, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I mean, this did pick up on the recording. It didn't seem like it was loud enough that it would actually come across.
You've got to remember, there's tens, maybe hundreds of thousands of truckers right now in the middle of the night moving out across the country, and shows like this just scare the living you-know-what out of them. Why should people not be scared by what they're about to hear? I mean, Barbara tends to have a pretty positive attitude about all of this. Me, I freak out a little bit. So, Barb, you address the people out there and tell them, why should they not be scared by what they're about to hear?
Well, there's really nothing harmful in it. I think if people are afraid, it's not something that they should indulge in, I don't understand why people are afraid of it and go out and try to do it.
I understand.
I wouldn't do it if I was afraid of it.
Well, I understand that too. And, clearly that's a pretty good attitude to have, but not an easy one to have. I just don't see how you can not be afraid by some of this. I mean, after all, some of the ones we've heard, voices saying, it's dark here, little children, it's cold here. I mean, there's no way, Barbara, that these are not scary things to me.
They're unusual things, and we don't understand them, but they really aren't scary, although I understand people do get scared of things they don't understand.
Well, all right, look. When I die, I expect to have wings and be flitting from cloud to cloud.
And I hope you are.
That sort of thing. And I'm sure that's what all hope. But listening to what people are about to hear, it's not the angelic future we all, or most of us, expect. If that's so, I
think it's very different than. I think we look at it. The normal people look at it almost childlike.
Well, and people have so many preconceived notions that, this is Hollywood. This is, what I've seen on certain Hollywood movies.
But it's not.
It's not anything like that. I mean, we have yet to encounter anything that matches something we've seen in some Hollywood movie. And once you get that notion out of your head that this isn't Hollywood...
No, it's not Hollywood, but that's why it scares the hell out of me. I mean,
well, yeah, okay, that does make sense. I think what we do is we look at these as actual people. We look at these as people who have had a body, they've died, they maintain the same personality.
The number, if you're interested in one of the items I mentioned, there's really many more. The fax number, only for this purpose, and for that only, is area code 775-582-1310. All right, coming up in a moment, the voices. The voices. All right, here we go. Welcome back, you two.
Thank you.
First of all, I guess we ought to know, are all the voices we're going to hear from the same location tonight, or what?
There are 3 different locations.
Oh. And what would be the first location?
We were at a mausoleum.
A mausoleum. What a surprise.
You knew that was coming.
Well, it wasn't a hard guess. A mausoleum. Okay, a mausoleum.
And we have them posted on the website so that people can go and
plug your website. This way you can listen and, hit it again and again and again and really determine if you're hearing what you think you're hearing. What is your website?
It's GhostPix, that's PIX.com.
GhostPix.com.
That's it.
Okay, that's PIX, so it's easy, folks. And my guess is what they're going to hear tonight, is that already up there, or will it be?
Yeah, we posted it about 10 minutes before we started the show.
Okay. All right, number 1, here we go.
All right, this first one, you're going to hear Roger, one of the members of the GIS, say, "Hey, Brendan," and Brendan says back, "Yo." And Roger says, "Come here when you can. I'll show you something freaky." And Brendan says, "What?" And Roger says, "I'll show you something freaky." And then this voice comes in. It sounds like it's saying, "I'm getting big."
Okay, let's take a listen.
Brendan, come here when you can. I'll show you something freaky. What? I'll show you something freaky.
Okay, there was obviously a lot of echo because it was inside the mausoleum, so that was a natural echo, right?
Oh, yes.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
And that was what was so, I think, bad about this. We had just started using this condenser mic, and as you mentioned, I mean, it does pick up everything.
It does.
And, to bring it inside this mausoleum, the big marble ceilings and everything's marble. And
lots of echo.
Yeah.
All right, one more time.
Come here when you can. I'll show you something freaky. What? I'll show you something freaky.
Yeah, that's the best I'd be able to do that, too, is I'm getting big. Interesting.
And then wonder what that means. I mean, I guess there's only so many ways you can take it, but...
Yeah, you don't... You know, I'm getting to be a big spirit.
Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? Now, that was really, in my way of thinking, unrelated, if that's what it was saying, to anything you said.
Oh, yeah.
You agree?
Yes,
definitely.
It had nothing to do with what was going on at that time.
Huh.
I don't believe, I mean, I don't think it had anything to do with their conversation.
All right. How many of these are in the mausoleum?
Just the first three.
The first three, because there is a lot of echo there. It makes it harder.
Yes.
I think.
But I thought it was interesting, even the EVP had echo to it.
Oh, that's an awfully good point. If it was directly imprinted on electromagnetic media, it wouldn't have echo.
That's it.
Ho-ho. Very good. All right, number 2.
All right. Now, in this clip, again at the mausoleum, you're going to hear Barbara say, "Does anyone want to say anything to us or talk to us?" I mean, it's a really standard thing we say when we're out.
Right.
And it almost sounds like the same voice as before, but this time she says, "I'm really warm."
Huh. All right, here we go. Listen carefully. You're trying to hear "I'm really warm" at the end. We'll talk a little bit about that, about trying to hear something. Yeah. Yeah, warm. I'm getting warm. No question about that. I think that was quite clear, even though the echo was definitely there. That's really weird. The fact that the echo is there is really weird. That does almost nail it down, doesn't it? That it's an actual audible imprint that we're getting. Now, they've gone to condenser mics, which are famously more sensitive than other types they have used in the past. So you will hear, again, I think they're right, "I'm getting warm." Now, there is always the question of whether they heard "I'm really warm," and, they just told you essentially what to hear, and so that's what you hear. Your brain, of course, tries to make sense out of something that apparently does not make sense. That's what we do with it. Our brains do that. If I were to show you a picture of some random clouds, if you sat there and looked at it long enough, you would say, well, gee, that looks like a rabbit, or it looks like... Well, it works the same way with audio. If it is suggested to you that you will hear something, you hear it. Again, see if you hear, "I'm getting, or rather, I'm really warm." Listen carefully. I'm really warm. All right, so let's deal with this question. It does sound like I'm really warm to me, but would it have sounded that way to me if you had not told me what to listen for?
And that's just it. And I am glad you brought that up, because one of the main things regarding EVP is it is very subjective. And it's always been that way. Very rarely do you hear a voice that right off the bat, the 5 of us listen to it and go, "Oh, that's what it says."
Yeah.
And I guess really us putting down what we think it says stems from, just doing the show. I mean, we've got to say it sounds like something. And to us, we listen to them 1,000 times before we ever send them out to you. So this is just kind of what we think from listening to them that many times is what's being said.
Another question for those who might want to venture out and try this for themselves. How many hours of recording time do you have to do generally, typically, on an average, to get an EVP?
I would say at least 2. I mean, there's times that you can turn on the recorder and within 5 minutes record something.
Right.
There's other times you record for 6 hours and get absolutely nothing. it varies so much, and I think the whole key is just keep going back and keep doing it.
Yeah, but if you were to average it out, you're saying probably about every 2 hours you.
Exactly. Yeah.
If you're at an investigation for 2 hours, when we come home, there's another 2 hours to listen to the audio, and then another 2 hours to review the videotape.
Oh, my gosh. That's an awful lot of work.
It is an awful lot of work.
The two of you are otherwise employed, right?
Yes.
And so that's kind of how it's, I guess the GIS membership supports itself for the most part?
Yes. You have to eat and have a roof over your head, and then be able to purchase equipment on the,
Well, this.
Yeah, that's right. So
you've mentioned this, I don't know how many times on your show. This whole thing is it's a labor of love for us. We enjoy it so much, and with us, we've proved without a shadow of a doubt to ourselves that this exists. This is really out there, and anything else that we do is the equivalent to the old 6th grade show and tell.
Yeah.
This is what we've done. This is what we've recorded. If you're interested, do it yourself.
Has it changed the way you view life and death and the afterlife and your religions and that kind of thing?
I wouldn't say religion. I mean, it definitely changes the way you think, because all of a sudden you realize, well, there is something else. There's something else out there. As far as religion goes, I mean, I haven't heard enough, especially regarding EVP, that would justify me saying, well, there is whatever religion out there. I mean, I certainly haven't heard any voices referring to Jesus or Muhammad.
That's kind of a shock to me.
Is it?
Yeah, it is. I would expect, references to Jesus or, I don't know, Muhammad or whatever anybody's belief, wherever it takes them. I just would expect that from the other side.
Well, you look at, in reality, all the people that isn't in their thoughts the majority of the time.
No. But that would be the top of the line over there on the other side, you would think, if all the religions are...
Then you've got to ask yourself, why are they here? I mean, they obviously haven't gone to another side. Well, I mean, they've gone to another side, but they haven't gone to the, the version of heaven or hell or whatever it is we think of.
Right.
I mean, they're here.
They're still here.
So, I mean, they must not be aware of religion. I mean... Obviously, if they're still stuck here for whatever reason,
they're still tied somehow emotionally to.
Do you think that contributes then to their many times what we perceive as I mean, they really sound unhappy sometimes.
I believe myself that people that when they pass on, and if they don't go to where they should be going, and they stay around here and interact with the living, I think that they would be very sad.
Well, they don't, though, really interact with the living. Unless you count the work you do, for example, or the Meek's work, that kind of thing, there's not that much going on.
Well, it depends on... You talk to people that are having ghost experiences, and it's a lot.
Well, yeah, there is that kind of interaction, but I mean, for the spirits on the other side, there can't be a great deal of satisfaction, and there should be a lot of frustration in trying to communicate with the living, because they, for the most part, can't do it. They can come along and occasionally scare the hell out of us, but that's about it.
And I'm glad you brought up frustration, because I think that is a very key thing over there. I mean, as far as ghosts are concerned.
Yes.
And I think that leads a lot to the hauntings you hear about, because these things, I mean, over time, they must get frustrated. Nobody pays attention to me. Nobody's listening to what I'm saying, and they can't understand it.
A lot of confusion involved with them, too.
Do you, too, have any indication that, I mean, for example, do you ever hear from one individual on an ongoing basis?
We did.
Yeah, it varies by location to location, but we have recorded the same voice, over numerous investigations at the same location. Actually, a couple of the clips tonight, I believe, are the same voice.
Well, it seems to me, and I just, of course, see this as a mortal would see it, but if you're on the other side and you're able to observe human beings going on about their daily lives, and you're either haunting or trying to get a message through, and you're being frustrated and you're unhappy about that, I don't know, you'd try, if, for example, if you're one of these spirits and you run into somebody like yourselves who are actually trying to hear this, you would make an extra effort. You would say, finally, here's somebody who's trying to hear me. Let's see what we can do.
Oh, yeah, and I think that leads to a lot of the EVP that we record. And we've also noticed, it seems like that when we go back to a location over and over again, that it's almost like they realize that we're there doing this. So it seems like we pick up more EVP than we had, the 2 times prior that we had been there.
Right. All right. Let's move on to number 3. Again, and the final one in the mausoleum where you're going to hear this kind of echo. Number 3?
Okay, we were in the mausoleum for quite a while, and we decided to step outside to go have a break. And we left all of our equipment inside. And you'll hear me saying, we invite anyone to speak with us. We invite you to tell us your name and talk with us. I hope you'll introduce yourself. I'm Barbara. And then you're going to hear us walking out, and the door shut, and then a woman laughs after we close the door.
Okay, that was you. It'll be you closing the door, and then we're listening for a woman's laugh.
Yes.
Here we go.
We invite you to speak with us. And we'd like to know your name and talk with us, and you'll introduce yourself. I'm Barbara.
That sure does sound like a woman laughing to me. And okay, so that's Barbara leaving the mausoleum, closing the door, and then comes left.
Is anybody here?
No. Let's go back here. Here we go.
We invite you to speak with us. And we'd like to know your name and talk with us, and you'll introduce yourself. I'm Barbara.
That is clearly a woman's laugh.
Yeah, there was me and Jenny were the 2 women that were there, and neither one of us laughed like that. That wasn't our
Well, and
laugh.
at that point, nobody else was inside the mausoleum after the door was shut.
It's nice to hear a little humor from the other side, if you ask me.
Once in a while, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. I'll say. Definitely nice to hear a little bit of humor. To know that people can have humor, can react. That's one of the basic, what do we have? Love, hate, different emotions, jealousy, various emotions. It's just good to hear a happy one.
Yes, because they're very few and far between.
Well, that's too bad. But apparently, a spirit, even though they know they have not transitioned all the way to the top, you guys firmly believe that, right?
That's my belief. Yes.
Stay close to the phone for me.
Yes.
And is that true of you? I notice you stay silent at these moments, Brendan. Do you disagree a little bit?
No, I don't actually. I do believe that there is something else. I do believe in the concept of heaven. I just believe that for whatever reason, these entities that we hear from are stuck here.
Yeah, that's why I asked you about the longer term thing. What I guess I'm really asking is, have you ever observed anybody being there, and then suddenly being gone, as if graduation time had arrived and they had moved on?
Oh yes,
yes.
Oh,
there was a man that repeatedly spoke to us every time we went to this one cemetery. We'd record his voice almost every time we'd go.
Right.
And we haven't recorded him for years now.
Do you believe he's moved on?
I hope he has.
But you have no way of knowing for sure. All right. The two of you stay right where you are. From the Ghost Investigators Society, and we're about to enter an interesting territory here. I have no idea where the next voices come from. But again, it's newer technology. Well, it's actually old technology. They're using, finally, a condenser mic, which, A, would certainly indicate that we are dealing with a phenomena that's actually audible. That's what this would seem to say to me. And number two, once we're out of the mausoleum, my expectation is the voices will be somewhat clearer. We'll find out in a moment. Life is short. Take risks. Guys, welcome back.
Thank you.
Good to have you. And now we're going to move. The next ones are going to come out of the mausoleum. So where are we headed from the mausoleum?
All right. These next two are actually from a private residence that we did. And
how often do you do that?
What? Private
Go
residence?
to a private residence, yeah.
Quite often, actually.
At the request, no doubt, of the inhabitants.
Oh, yes, yeah. Between private residences and just, businesses that are still operating, I would say that probably makes up about 80% of what we do.
Really? I think I've heard a disproportionate number of cemeteries, but you do go to a lot of private residences. Now, I know you guys are not rich. You don't make money from doing this, so you can't go traipsing around the country on request, and I'm sure you get many of them, right?
Yes, we do.
How do you handle it?
Well, we can only go to the ones that are close by most of the time. We plan, trips and go to locations and make arrangements, but it's like a yearly trip that we do.
Okay, so, and for the record, you're in Utah?
Yes.
Utah, all right. So typically, how far might you travel?
Oh, well,
we've gone up into Montana. We've gone up into Wyoming.
East Coast. As far as we can get to. Price of gas now, though. I think Barbara said this before. We'll be lucky to get around our block.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right, let us go then to number 4, recorded at a private residence, apparently at the behest of the inhabitants.
That's correct. And I do want to mention these next two voices. The echo is gone. The voices themselves are a little low, but we put them on to show that this is the kind of thing we can pick up with a condenser mic where a digital recorder, an analog tape recorder, anything else would not have picked up these voices at all.
Really? All right, so this is they'll be pretty far into the noise, is what you're saying.
Yeah, in a way, but I think they're still very discernible. You can, definitely hear there's something there that shouldn't be.
Well, let's find out. All right, so number 4 is?
All right, this one you're going to hear me say is, anybody here, tell us your name. And then after that, it sounds like an older man saying, did you want to talk to me?
All right, let's see if that's what we think. Wait a minute. We won't find out that way. Get the EVP disc in and go to number 4, or we're not going to hear a thing. Here we go. All right, so again, we're going to try and hear, did you want to talk to me? Listen carefully.
Is anybody here? Tell us your name.
Yeah, I hear it. All right, well, I wonder how all of you did with that out in the radio audience. I was able to quite clearly, of course, I'm wearing headphones, and I guess I've got a little bit of advantage. I've got the volume way up with headphones, so listen carefully.
Is anybody here? Tell us your name.
Okay, so yes, did you want to talk to me? That's exactly what it sounded like.
That's it.
Or your suggestion to me worked. Yeah, kind of sing-songy. And yes, very far down in the noise. Now, the one thing, of course, about using a condenser mic is you're going to pick up a lot more ambient noise.
That's correct, yes. I've definitely noticed that since, as we're setting this up, I mean, I do monitor what's going on. I have headphones on. I can listen to what's around.
But with that kind of gain, you're really going to get a lot of ambient noise. Now, have you considered heavier filtering to take the ambient out, or have you already done that?
We haven't done it yet. I mean, it definitely is